Vanakkam, welcome to Database Management System subject. My name is Ilayaraja, Assistant Professor, Department of Information Technology. So in this lecture, we are going to discuss about the DBMS characteristics. So data is nothing but a raw facts and figures. So database is nothing but a collection of related information. The DBMS is nothing but a set of software programs which is allowing the users to store the data, modify the data and retrieve the data. So in this lecture, we are going to see 5 important characteristics of any database management system. So, okay, before moving into the topic, let me understand about the file system approach and the database management system approach. In my example, I am taking an employee management system. There are two departments in the particular organization. One is accounts department and HR department. The HR department are going to store information about their employee ID, employee name, employee date of birth, and employee degree in their files. Then accounts department are separately storing their employee information like employee ID, employee name, employee account number, and employee salary in the separate file. So these two files are separately available in the different departments. When the HR department are modifying some information about their employee name and employee ID, the same may not be reflected in the file which is available in the accounts department. And the same wise, the accounts department are going to modify something in the employee ID, employee name, and the same may not be reflected in the HR department file. So these two files are located in a different places. When these two files are separately available, the department alone is going to access the particular file. Okay, there is no common place. So at the time, we are wasting the memory because the employee ID, employee name are available in the two files in a separate places. Now in DBMS approach, even though we are having the multiple departments in the particular organization, they are going to share the single repository for their purposes. For example, HR department, account department, production department, sales department, I am taking for the particular organization. For all the 4 departments, we are having the single repository. From this single repository itself, they are going to do or all the modifications or they are going to store all the information in the particular single repository. So that any department are doing some modification, the same may be applied or reflected in the other departments. For example, HR department are doing some modification about the new employee. The same may be reflected in the accounts department, production department, and the sales department. So that is common to all other departments also. And about this comparison of the file-based approach and the DBMS approach, in a DBMS approach, we are saving the time and we are saving the memory space. But in case of file system approach, we are wasting the memory as well as the wasting of our time to modify the data in the different places. So that the DBMS is having the advantage than the file-based approach. That's why nowadays in all organizations are using the database management system in their organization. So now we are in our topic that is 5 main characteristics of any database management system that includes self-describing nature of a database system, installation between program and data, support for multiple views of data, sharing of data and multi-user system, and finally we are having the security. So let me discuss about one by one in upcoming slides. The first one is self-describing nature of a database system. The database system not only contains the database and also it is contains the metadata. What it means of metadata? Data about data or description of the data in the particular database. Actually, the metadata actually stored in the database management system catalog. It will be used by the database management system software and database users. Suppose if a database catalog is created, the same database catalog can be equally work with any number of database application. For example, if you are using a employee management system, that database catalog can be work on a transaction processing system or a payment processing system or any other application program. But in case of traditional file processing system, the data definition will be the part of the application program. Suppose if you want to do some changes in the particular meta file or data definition, then you should change it in the application program as well. Let me understand the self-describing nature of a database system by with an example. That is, this database stores the employee and the sales information in an organization. So in this example, we are having 3 tables, namely employee table, department table, and the sales report. So these 3 tables are available in the particular database to store the information about their employee and the employee department details and the sales report details. As per the previous example, what we have discussed in the slide, that is the employee database management system. So we are having the catalog file. In that catalog, we are having the relation name and the number of columns are there in the particular table. The employee table, we have three columns. The department table, we have three columns, and sales report table also, we are having the three columns. In addition to that, we are having the column information, the column name of the particular table, and the data type of the particular column, and which the table, the particular column belongs to. So all those informations are there in the system catalog. So with this catalog, the database management system can refer at any time for their purposes. The second characteristics what we are taking is insulation between program and the data. As far as the DBMS concerned, the DBMS approach shows the structure of the data files in the DBMS catalog itself. It is totally separate from the access program, that is program data independence. But in case of file system approach, the structure of the data file is embedded in the application program. Suppose if you are changing any content on the structure, it may be automatically referred by the database management system. But in case of file approach, you want to change the software application program also. So that's what the problem is there in the file based approach, which is not available in the DBMS approach. Let me understand with some example. So in our example, we have taken the employee management system, right? So in that we are having this in slide about the internal storage format of the employee record. Suppose in this format, we are having the data item name, that is employee ID, employee name, employee salary, and starting position of the record and the length in the characters, that is in bytes, are given. Suppose in a file system, if I want to add some more details like a date of birth in this particular field, it will be very difficult for the file system, because the file system has to modify, that is the application program has to be modified when we are changing something in the structure of the database. But in case of the database management system, we don't want to change anything. If I want to add a new record or a new field in this particular table in this format, we can easily add without worrying about the changing of the database management system. When the DBMS is referring the next time about this structure, automatically it will be reflected in the database as well. So that's what we are having the benefit over the DBMS. Coming back to insulation between program and data independence, the characteristics which allows the program data independence is called a data abstraction. DBMS provides users with a conceptual representation of data. Only the essential details will be shown to the users. Other details, that is background details and implementation details, have been hidden from the users. The data model, which is the type of data abstraction which will provide the conceptual representation in the database. So that's it about the insulation between and program and data. The next one is supports for multiple use of data. Is DBMS supports multiple use of data? Yes, it supports multiple use of data because a database may have many users, each of whom may require different use of data. For example, you can take the bank. In any branch, we may have a clerk, assistant manager, branch manager. The different roles may have may need a different database or different data. So at the time, the database management system has to support for that requirement. So for that purpose, we are having the concept of view in the DBMS. That is, it is a subset of database, that is virtual table. It contains the virtual data derived from the database. It is actually not explicitly stored in the hard disk. That is physically not stored in the hard disk anywhere else in the particular database management system. The next characteristics is sharing of data and multi-user system. The DBMS allows multiple users to access the database at the same time. For that purpose, the DBMS must include a concurrency control in that software. So concurrency control is nothing but it is a procedure for managing simultaneous operation without conflicting each other. It is ensuring that the database transactions are performed concurrently and accurately to produce the correct results without violating data integrity of the respective databases. The concurrency control included applications are called as online transaction processing or OLTP application programs, which is the major part of the database application program. Generally, the DBMS must enforce several transaction property, namely atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. Atomicity in the sense either all operations in the particular transaction are must be executed or none of the operations are getting executed. Consistency in the sense before and after the database must be remain consistent. Isolation in the sense even though multiple transactions are executed concurrently, no other transaction will affect other transaction. And durability in the sense the database must remain available for the authorized users. So these are all the properties generally satisfied by any database management system. in the form of atomicity, consistency, isolation, durability, which may be called as acid properties in database management system. The last but not least, that is security is the main important characteristics for any database management system. DBMS offers various methods to impose constraints while entering the data into the database and retrieving the same at the later stage. And also it supports the views concepts to support the multiple users to have different views with the different features. Even though we are having the security features, we have a lot of threats to the database in the form of loss of availability. Authorized users may not accessible the particular database at this particular time. Loss of integrity, improper modification may be taken place in the particular database. Loss of confidentiality. Some confidential information may be unknowingly disclosed in the public place. Even though we are having threats, there are some measures to prevent from improper modification or that is providing the availability. There is access control, flow control, and data encryption. And with that also we are using, there is addition to that we are having the users, and based on the users we may assign the privileges. That is administrator level we may have all the privileges. The designer levels only they are going to concern with the design of the database. They may require a limited amount of features, but in case of users are required a minimum amount of privileges. Based on that roles and task, we can assign the privileges to the users. So with this, I'm concluding this five important main characteristics of any database management system. We are in concluding remarks about this lecture. In this lecture, we have gone through about the difference between a file-based approach and a database management system approach, as well as we have discussed about the five important characteristics of any database management system, starting with the self-describing nature of the database system in the form of metadata, installation between program and data in the form of PDI, support for multiple use of data in the form of views, sharing of data and a multi-user system in the form of concurrency control, and security in the form of measures. So all those things we have discussed in this lecture. And thank you. Thanks for your watching.